All right, welcome back, everybody, to Legacy United, a Righteous Project Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Billy Wayne, once again, and we have a very special guest today that I'm very happy to have on the show, but I'm going to let her introduce herself, so go ahead and let the people know who you are.
Hi, you guys. My name is FMJ. I am my day job is a corporate transactions lawyer, but my night job is making music. I'm part of an all-female production team.
Awesome.
And I also have gotten into fixing cars. So that's my new
Oh,
passion.
nice.
And that's it.
Nice. All right. That's what's up. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm excited to have you. Ever since I started the podcast, you have been one of the guests that I wanted to have. I just wanted to get all the bugs out before I started everything else. And now, we're doing virtual podcasts with people out of state as well. So thank you so much for joining us. It definitely means a lot.
Love it. Thank you for having me.
Ma'am. So you guys know what we do. We invite local entrepreneurs, people that operate their own businesses, success stories, that people that can relate to. And that's what we have for you today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass it back to you and just let you take it from the top and just share your story with us. Let us know what's going on.
Sure. So I live in Houston, Texas right now, but I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado. I didn't leave Colorado till I was about 30 years old and actually left for law school. But prior to that, I'm one of 6 kids. Both of my parents are immigrants. They immigrated from a really tiny country. It's about 90 miles off the coast of Guam called Palau. And they immigrated in the 70s. And so they kind of came and made their way and ended up settling, of all places, in Denver, Colorado.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and they raised all of us. We were pretty poor growing up, like anybody with 6 kids. So, that's kind of had its struggles, and it's kind of like the normal stuff, bullying that I went through. Because I kind of grew up in a neighborhood where there wasn't a lot of brown people. It was a lot of white people or
got it.
Some Mexican people, but not really anybody kind of as dark as me. So there was a little bit of struggle with that. But I made really good grades. My parents raised us very strictly. And there's like some other things on top of that, like I was, for reasons that happened in the family dynamics, I was put in a foster home for about a year.
Oh, okay.
And then I was reunited with my family. My father, he had a bit of a substance abuse problem.
Okay.
What else? My parents did stay together, for pretty much till my mother passed away. My mother passed away in 2010 from pancreatic cancer.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then, but I went to college. So, went through middle school, high school, got good grades, went to college. I ended up going to University of Colorado at Denver for the music technology program, actually. Music technology and I think music business, which is where I met the 2 other girls that I do music with. It's actually where I met a lot of people. That I still do talk about and do music with today. We're all kind of in the same program together.
Awesome.
But I distinctly remember like latching on to the other 2 women, and the other 2 women I do music with, their names are Rain and Janice. I remember latching on to them because we were like the few females. I mean, there's probably like on one hand I can count how many females there were in the program. So we were just weird oddballs trying to do music and stuff in the programs. But we ended up meeting. It was a really good fun time in college. We ended up, doing all kinds of stuff with music, forming our music group, meeting all kinds of people. That's actually where I met my kid's father at. And his name is Marcus. And he actually is childhood friends with Mr. Wayne here, which is how I know him.
Sure is.
Exactly. Childhood friends. And that's how I ended up meeting you and everything. So actually, I was standing at the light rail station. There's a light rail station that goes by that college campus, picks up all the students, takes them to different places. And he actually approached me, and it was cold and I didn't want to be bothered, but he insisted on, he was a real smooth talker. So he insisted on talking to me and walking with me, riding the light rail with me to my bus stop. And I ended up waiting for a later bus and we walked around what's called 16th Street Mall for an hour or 2 hours or something, just talking about all kinds of stuff. And then, we ended up getting married and having 2 kids. So Mr. Billy Wayne over here knows.
For sure. And I remember when we first met, and it was maybe it was Rain's home that was across the street from Auraria campus, maybe that where you guys used to make music at. And we all made music, but I was very impressed because there's making music, then there's knowing how to make music. There's definitely a difference. Like I would play the keyboard growing up and stuff like that, and pretend like I knew what I was doing, but I didn't really see the technical aspect of that until I met you guys. Honestly, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, there's more to it than
than just playing the guitar. Now that's where talent. You have that talent to where you play instruments and everything like that. But man, I mean, the technical aspect of it is a whole different level of understanding how to put all that stuff together. And you guys were really into it, because I did go to college as well for audio engineering, but I didn't. I thought I knew what I was doing, so I didn't put all the effort in, but you guys were really into it, and you guys very impressed as well. So
and actually audio engineering, I think I almost like that more than music production, because there's a real fine tuning process that goes into that, is layered on top of the music production when you're able to engineer it and stuff. So we learned a lot from the school doing that. But like I said, we met a lot of people, and it was a really good time. When I was younger, way younger.
Exactly. So that's good though. And you went to college, and you were making music as well, and like you said, you met Marcus Hayes at that time, and a lot of people don't know. But my youngest son, I named him after Marcus's stage name. Marcus Aurelius. So they're like, oh yeah, even doctors, they're like, oh cool, like from Gladiator, or the philosopher, and I'm like, yes, but no, there's another reason too. So
and I love that. I love that.
Awesome.
And I don't know, some people know this, and I don't know the people who don't, but anyway, so Marcus and I, we were married 7 years, I think. We had 2 kids. And then in 2013, he passed away. So, just since then, it's just been me and the kids, just trying to honor his legacy, raising the kids to the best of my abilities. His son, our son Justice, actually has a lot of the qualities of Marcus, which is just funny how they're kind of born with that. Justice was 3 when he passed away, but he has a lot of stuff, and it's weird. It's just in them. It's not. Not. I used to think, there's the nature versus nurture thing, like what part is in you and what part is your environment. But with him, he has a lot of his dad and not even really knowing his dad. So it's kind of crazy.
Awesome. Wow. Yep. So you did go, after he passed away, and it was just you guys as well. And if you don't mind me asking, because a lot happened in between that time, from that time, obviously, until now. And you can always go back as well and recap. But what got you to the point where you made the decision that you did have to move out to Texas?
So at the time, their dad, Marcus, whose name is Marcus, and me struggled a lot. Actually, we didn't make a whole lot of money. We had the support of his family, which was great. But when it came to he and I, we didn't make a whole lot of money. I actually made $28,000 a year.
Oh
year
yeah.
that he passed away. And
Wow.
so
Wow. Yeah.
when he passed away, it was like, and I can't remember how much. I think he made a little bit more than me. So we didn't make a whole lot between us.
Mm-hmm.
And when he passed away, we have the support of his family, which is nice, but it's also like you're going to have to stand on your own with these two kids somehow, some way.
Right. Right.
And
yeah.
It was just like, how am I going to do that? Exactly. Like,
Right.
what do I need to do? And it was actually going through the program at UCD, the music business portion of it, where we had a professor, I think his name was Mr. Kellogg, and he ran the music or the like entertainment law class. And I think one of his clients at the time was like Gerald Levert and the Leverts,
okay.
or
Wow. Awesome.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he used to talk a lot about. He had actual experience, so he used to talk about his business dealings, and then all the material in class, and it was something that I was interested in because of that class. So, law school is not it's not just something that people normally just wake up and decide to do one day.
Right.
There's a lot of people, when they're like little kids, like I want to be a lawyer when I grow up and stuff. But for me, it was actually like, okay, I have an interest in it, and this is gonna sound crazy. I need to make a whole bunch of income, so maybe I'll shoot my shot at it. Yeah. So I actually, to get into law school, and a lot of law schools have changed now how they do it, but it's this thing called the LSAT, which is, it's not a test you can study for. It's strictly reading comprehension, and then there's like a logistical portion of it where it tests your logic skills. So you can't study for it. It's not anything like you read and you got to memorize. It's nothing like that. There's nothing to memorize. It's testing you raw, your ability raw to comprehend, to process stuff, and your logic skills.
Oh, wow.
So prior to taking the LSAT, I mean, for months, that's what I did. I was, they have like LSAT prep books where you read like half a page, and then you answer it, and you got to time yourself. And then they have logic games too. And I don't know if, you can go on Amazon and you can get logic game books. So, I encourage anybody who's thinking about law school, if you're going to a school that requires you to take the LSAT, try doing those logic books. They have, and I don't know if you've ever played. Have you ever played logic games? Billy? I don't know if you have
and didn't know that I was playing them, but
yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
So what it is, it's like, I know. So what it is, it's like, it usually gives you like a chart. It looks like just like a grid. And it's like, and it has like it has like the scenario of names and places, let's say, on the X and Y axis of it. And it'll tell you things like, there's 5 planes leaving the airport. Sheila is on the gold plane. The gold plane takes off after the red plane. It's like all kinds of little clues, context clues. And you have to put together who is on what plane and what time is that plane leaving. You have to figure that out.
Interesting. Wow.
So it tests your logic skills, right? So if Sheila's on plane A, she can't be on plane B. So somebody else is there. So you just kind of follow the pattern down. And so they have tons of books like that on Amazon and stuff. So if you think of going to law school and you're going to school that test for the LSAT, I would definitely work on logic skills, because it's a big portion of the test. And then the other part is just reading comprehension. Like you got to learn how to, because as a lawyer, that's what we do. We read a whole bunch of information, and you got to whittle it and process it down to what's important and stuff. I studied for the LSAT for like a few months, and then I took the test, and I got like, maybe I think it was like a little bit higher than average score. It wasn't like fantastic. It wasn't amazing. But it was good enough to apply. So I applied to like CU Boulder and DU. I think I applied to University of Houston. Just like all, I knew one thing. It was either going to be Colorado or it was going to be someplace warm. It was going to be like in Texas or California or Florida.
Right.
I did not want to deal with snow if it wasn't going to be Colorado.
Anywhere else, right?
So, you write your essay, you take the LSAT, And thankfully, like I got into all of the schools that I applied for, so it was just a matter of choosing which one. I mean, and I thank God
Awesome.
when I got back the letter, like I cried because it is
Yeah,
very
right, for
difficult.
sure.
It's a long process to get in. It's not easy. You know, they don't accept everybody. But thankfully they chose me and stuff. So
awesome.
So I did do my first year at University of Denver. That was my first year of law school. And then I knew I didn't want to stay in Colorado. I really, really was trying to move out of the snow. And I know that sounds terrible, but I was like, I just need a change. After Marcus had passed away and everything, I was like, I need a bigger change and stuff, and I want to go someplace more.
I understand that. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So then I applied to just transfer over to Houston, University of Houston, and then that's where I finished up the other 2 years. Law school's only 3 years, so the other 2 years I just finished up down here. Yeah,
amazing. Because I remember that when you announced that you were leaving as well. At that time, and you know, I went back to school not too long ago, but I took one class of business law, and that was one of the most difficult classes I've ever taken. I passed it, I think with either a B+ or a A-, but it's intense. I mean, just understanding just how the laws are. It really made me understand that, you know, you just can't operate out here, even with the simplest agreements, without some type of structure, you know. And I tell that to a lot of friends of mine. Exactly. And I tell my friends that all the time. Anytime there's any transactions, business related, even if it's not business related, you know, even smaller details, but business, for example, anytime anybody wants to work with you or with me, for example, and I say, okay, no problem, let me type out this agreement, or let's do this agreement, I know who's really about it, because I will either not hear back from them, or they'll be interested. And agreements and contracts are not as malicious, because you do hear a lot about contracts being, you know, bad because a lot of people don't understand them. But if you work with each other, you guys come up with a mutual agreement, it's really to protect both of you in the situation. You know, because there's no ands, ifs about it. All the questions are already answered, so you don't have to go back and try to make things up. But that's really what stuck out for me for law, which is very interesting, you know. But to hear you had, you know, that you went through all these years of, you know, getting your law degree. Oh man. Oh
yeah. And they really break you down. So I'm a single mom. I'm a single mom with 2 little kids trying to do this law school thing, and you know, like, bless the kids, because I used to have to take them to the law school with me, set them in a corner with some crayons and some Donalds, and be like, I need to do this. You know, I got to get through this and everything. But law school really breaks you down, like just the way they structure the classes, everything you think you know about law, you know, like, it doesn't matter how much Law and Order you watch, SVU or whatever the case may be, you know, none of that matters. Like, it really breaks you down and kind of builds you back up to think like a lawyer. And it's just a certain mindset you have to have. And part of it is exactly what you said. Like, when it comes to contracts, it's called an agreement for a reason. You are supposed to negotiate between you and the party the things you're going to agree on. You're not going to agree on everything, but the idea is you land someplace where you both can move forward with whatever business you're doing, you know, and pray that. And really the only thing about the agreement is it really exists in case somebody wants to raise a problem. Like, if somebody has a problem. And not only just a problem, but they want to take it a step further and take you to litigation over it, you know? Which doesn't happen a lot, you know, and especially when you're dealing with, like, kind of how we were, you know, like, between music producers and artists, and none of us got money for lawyers. You know, we're trying to make these agreements and stuff, you know, so much less, and we're not going to take each other to court, you know. But should somebody decide to, you know, that's actually when the agreement matters, you know. Kind of before then it don't really matter. But that's exactly what it is. It's you're negotiating for all the terms in it. You're not going to agree on everything. Just get to a place where you both are comfortable moving forward with your business.
And it's good for everybody, you know, good for the whole transaction, you know, business agreement. So I highly recommend it for anybody to ever, you know, get into any type of you know, business related anything. Just, you know, agreements, contracts, and everybody's good to go. So
And there's actually a lot of good online resources now that provide like forms and stuff that you can just go get. Like you don't even have to have somebody build one from scratch. They'll have one already with most of the stuff in it, and you can kind of tweak it how you want to.
Kind of plug it in, and exactly.
Yeah, and it's better than nothing, honestly. You just got to spend a little bit of money to do it.
Right, right. Yep, agree. So that's awesome, and just like you said, I mean, it's not easy, and you had to make those sacrifices. You had to pick up and figure out how you were going to, move to another state, then continue on with earning your degree, and then having 2 younger children as well. A lot of people stop at just thinking about that it's in itself, but you made that push. You said, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah. And really, honestly, anybody could do law school. It's like, I know it seems like a daunting thing. Like after before I went to it, I was like, man, this is super selective and only certain people, but after I got through it, I was like, anybody could really do this, honestly.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know what the selection, why they're so selective or whatever. But anybody can really be trained to do what I do. So, anybody out there thinking about it, like, don't be discouraged and think that, your reading comprehension is not good enough or whatever. Actually, it's statistically shown that the people who perform the highest in law school actually are not the greatest lawyers. For some reason. They do good in law school, get good grades, but then practically when you go out into the real world, it's way different. We're not talking about just books and theoretical stuff anymore. We're actually talking about like, can you, and a lot of the practicality of what we do is talking to clients, like just picking up the phone, being able to express the important things that you need to for the clients. That's really mostly what it is. It's just keeping the client happy, keeping them, up to speed with the big things that happen, breaking it down, kind of letting them know what's going on, giving them options, letting them decide and stuff. So, yeah, I think I'd say that's most of it. Most of it is just keeping the clients happy. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that is going to hear that, and that's it's good to hear, because like you said, I mean, it seems like it's daunting, but once you get through the process, and even when you look back, you're like, well, I mean, it wasn't as bad as I initially thought.
No, absolutely not. There are a lot of law schools have pipeline programs, which is if you are a high school student, I think even down like middle school, and you are interested in becoming a lawyer, or if you know somebody, you got a niece, a friend's son, daughter, whatever, who is interested in becoming one, you can put them in a pipeline program. What the pipeline program does is it kind of gives them a taste of what it's like. It lets them mentor with somebody who's already a lawyer. There's a lot. I think like almost every law school has one.
Wow.
And I think one of the biggest things is I'm a big advocate for exposure when it comes to kids. You don't know what you can be if you don't know all the possibilities there are of what you can be.
You're right.
So if you never had a lawyer in your family, the chances of you becoming a lawyer is actually really slim. You've never been exposed to it. You don't know.
Right.
So those pipeline programs exist to kind of help you see what it's like and know somebody and ask all the questions you need to kind of help you get to the next step of you actually becoming one. So I encourage anybody, to find pipeline programs too.
Nice. Absolutely. Nice. No, thank you for that. Well, that's good info for sure. Because I'm an advocate of believing the same thing as, you can, and it's a controversial concept, but yes, you can push your kids to be NBA players. You can push them to be football players. But a lot of change really comes from those careers that a lot of the community doesn't really push our kids towards, like being a lawyer, being politicians, even though it's controversial as well. That type of stuff is what drives change, especially if we can get more people that we can relate to, that we can identify in those specific roles. But it definitely starts with kids knowing and understanding that's something that they can achieve. So I definitely
and
that
you just need to see somebody who looks like you, in that position, and talk to them, and they could tell you, I came from the same background as you. You're actually, it's not that hard. You know, it's not
Exactly.
that, these are the things that you got to do to get there.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm a huge advocate for it. It's very important.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
And
adults like me, you know, I didn't start law school till I was, 27. Yeah. So
Yep.
I was,
Yep.
they consider you a non-traditional student if you don't
Yeah.
like enter law school right after you graduate college. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I had like, you know, graduated, or shoot. Actually, I went to, so at UCD undergrad, I went for 3 years and then kind of dropped out and took a 7-year break. And that's when Marcus and I had kids and everything. And then went back to finish the last year. And my biggest regret is just not finishing it all up when I should have. Because when I went back after 7 years, it's like the buildings had changed. There were skinny jeans now. It was like all kinds of, I was like, man, I'm too old. Like, what am I doing here still? Like, I should have got this out of the way a long time ago. Yeah.
I hear you. Yep. Yeah. Because I did. I went to college right after high school as well. Then I stopped going in, and I didn't get my degree until a couple years ago. You know, my business degree. So, and I did that online. But I remember that Marcus was trying to get us all into the library, and then to study and learn about business and everything. And we were young in our early 20s, you know. And I'm sitting there like, oh man, like I just want to make music, man. What you trying to? But you know, later on, I mean, I eventually went back and got my degree, my bachelor's in business. So, you know, it's
and he would be proud of that. He would be so proud of that, honestly.
Yeah. And that is one of my motivators. I mean, my sister as well as Marcus, because Marcus is one of the few of childhood friends that I know that always try to get me out of my shell, you know, because I was extremely laid back, quiet, didn't like to talk much, and he was the exact opposite. And anywhere we go, any venue or whatever, he would always push me to go out there. You know, that's something I really appreciate him doing, because without that type of motivation, I wouldn't be, you know, doing a podcast right now. Like, you know, this is the last thing that a lot of people write. So, it was a lot of stuff that he helped out with, you know, and a kind of driving force to doing that type of stuff. So,
and he was very, very serious about that for all of you guys and everything. The whole exile entertainment thing he was trying to do.
Right.
Yeah, he was serious, and I imagine for him it was like herding cats, because everybody just wanted to do, you know, I just want to make music. I just want to rap. Why we gotta have these meetings?
Exactly. It was like that. Yeah, it sure was.
But he wanted to try to build something, you know, and I think his, you know, he had this business mentality, like, well, these are the things that we need to do. I mean, he had the LLC set up, he had the bank account set up. He was really, you know, trying to go full speed with it. But he'd be super proud of you and everybody else who like finally taking you know, the business seriously, or coming out of your shell. Yeah,
exactly. It's that little piece, that little spark, you know, that we all try to put into other people, even if it doesn't happen right away. You know, it's just trying to just build that confidence, you know, in letting people know, kids, friends, or whatever, you know, that you can accomplish just about anything you put your mind to. I know that's a cliche statement, but once you accomplish that first success, and you know, and you feel it, you know, and you see that you can do it, then you know that you can replicate that. Then you start pushing yourself to continue to try to replicate, you know, that success by accomplishing another goal or setting another goal, you know. So it starts somewhere, you know. Somebody has to keep them motivated. So
and you know, your growth does not exist in your comfortability. It exists where you're uncomfortable. So wherever you're uncomfortable, that is an area of growth for you. You know, like to push you, you know, out of your shell and stuff. So wait, Billy, so what kind of got you? I know you said like Marcus was kind of help motivating thing, but like what really got you out of your shell?
So
I do remember you being super quiet and very reserved all the time.
Yep. I mean, it's a lot of factors, you know, and like you said, it comes from growth. And kind of to talk about Marcus a little bit, when I found out that he passed away, I was still working in my corporate job at just a low level position. And shortly after that is, you know, and then my sister passed away as well shortly after that. And I started thinking like, you know, they wanted me to do these things, or they were pushing me to do other things, and I'm still, laid back and not wanting to do much. Plus, I had a family. I had 2 kids at that time as well, and just like you were saying as well, my wife and I, weren't making enough money, so I had to figure out how to make more money, and that came from getting out of my shell, starting to network with people at my job, dressing up, going and doing meetings, facilitating speeches in front of people. And there was one time I went through a course, or it was a class at my job about being a leader, and I wasn't a manager at that time, but I had to do a PowerPoint presentation, and I was still nervous about it. I put all my hard work into it, and that morning before my presentation, I applied for a manager role, and that morning before, at like 9 o'clock, the boss pulled me in and was like, "Well, you don't have this job. We didn't give you the job." They're like, "Well, but we gave it to this guy, this other guy that honestly, and just give a shout, just to say it, definitely shouldn't have been the guy that they hired." So I felt a certain way, and I think that that triggered something in me, because I still had to do this PowerPoint presentation in front of all of the managers.
Man.
And so I practiced this over and over again, and I went in there and I did my thing, and actually it was one of the best presentations that they had, because after HR was even asking my manager if I'm trying to apply for manager roles,
Oh, wow.
So just that was like, okay, well, maybe I do have it. And ever since then, I just started doing that. I mean, I could put myself in front of audiences now without an issue. Like I'm still nervous about it, but I know that, I know what to say. I know how to talk. If I practice enough, I know it's going to be good anyway, to the best that I can. And that's really all it was. So it was a lot of building blocks, in trying to get to the point that I am at right now. So.
Yeah, that is crazy, because I definitely knew you as the quiet guy on the motif in the corner,
right.
like not saying much or doing much. Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome,
but yeah, a lot of that. But a lot of people, that helped out with that. Just being around certain crowds helps out big time. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right. For sure. Thank you. So, but yeah, that's a lot of good stuff, and just to hear about you coming from Denver, and I didn't realize that you were born and raised in Denver. So that was interesting to know. Thank you for sharing that. And then growing up, going through school, dealing with certain things, but still striving, still getting good grades, and really having that mindset, that you did want to go to college, and you went to college, and you're making music. You're still making music to this day as well, and still accomplishing, got your law degree too. So that's
and it's kind of
a
like,
lot of hurdles to go over.
It is. And it's kind of a funny thing I talk about with friends and stuff, because since I grew up poor, I had that mentality, like, I do not want to be like in this,
Right.
I need to get out of this. I need to go to school, get my education and stuff. I think the struggle with my kids is they are not growing up poor. They are growing up okay, much better than I am. So they don't have that fire in them like I did. And as a parent, it is infuriating to me that they're just kind of like, and it's just like, no, like, seriously, you gotta figure it out. You gotta know, you gotta take this seriously. You gotta do this and stuff. It's been a struggle for me as a parent to get them to find that fire that I had, give it to them, even though they're not growing up in the same circumstances. It's been a struggle.
I understand. Yeah, my kids are the same way, and I think that's kind of everybody when you grow up. I want to do this. I want to accomplish this, so my kids don't have to go through it. And then, but we do have to deal with that lack of motivation, or the what do I say? It's persistence. We know that they can get good grades. They do well in school. But having that motivation to well, an example. My son recently. He was like, "Dad, I want to rake some leaves, make some money." Okay, great, cool. You want to make money? Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, what we need a business plan. All right, so I need you to sit down. I need you to write down this. Okay, key. Okay, this is going to be really good. And I walk him through the whole thing, and then I say, okay, now you got to set goals. All right, did a good job. we'll talk about this later.
Uh-huh.
And then until this day, he's never came back to it. He's never come back to that business plan. And I'm like, dang, did I scare him out of, trying to, push it?
Yeah.
Maybe I should have. So it's, it just go back to Marcus, same thing. We're sitting in the library trying to read these books and everything and trying to build that concept. I'm like, man, he doesn't have that push, but I don't know where that balance is, but I hear you.
No, I don't know either. I struggle all of the time with it, and also, but I understand, like, my goal as a parent is I really just want two things for my kids: that they're happy and they are independent, that they can stand on their own.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't matter what you're doing, what your job is, or whatever. If you are happy and you're able to support yourself, because I'm not going to live forever, you're going to have to.
Exactly.
That's really like it. It's really just the two requirements that I got.
Yeah.
I don't have any lofty dreams like like you need to be an NFL player, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer. I don't have none of that for them. Just be happy, find what makes you happy.
Yeah. And that coming from trying to make sure that they have or didn't have to deal with what we did, right, when we were growing up. And I think a lot of it, you want to give them that freedom to be able to do what makes them happy, instead of worrying about the financial constraints of certain things, that we have to make certain decisions on, okay, should I do this? Well, oh no, I don't have the finances in order to accomplish it that way. So I got to detour myself to do it something else. But we don't want our kids to have to try to figure that out. And that, and that mindset is positive because the kids are at that point allowed to seek those type of paths, that does make them happy, so I think it's a double-edged sword.
And it goes back to the exposure thing we talked about. So one thing that I realized as the kids kind of gotten older and stuff is I really have stopped spending money on material things, but I will take them to go experience something new if they want to. So, like my daughter, she does horseback riding, she does archery.
Awesome.
There's all kinds of stuff that they do that I will gladly take you to do that. Don't ask me to get the newest Jordans. I'm not doing any of that. But if you want to go do something like this, you want to see something or learn something, we can go do that, So I feel like that is helps me to help them. Like, do you like this? Do you not like this? Could you see yourself doing this? Just helping them find themselves. Because I think when you grow up poor, like I did, I was not able to go on a lot of, field trips that required money or join clubs that required money. I wasn't able to take lessons to do anything. So you miss out on all that. And I think as a consequence of that is, as you get older, you struggle to figure out who you are because you haven't tried a lot of things, and so I want to be able to go ahead and knock that stuff out with my kids. So, by the time, and not even saying like right when you hit 18, you need to know who you are, because we don't know who we are.
Very true.
But at least you've experienced enough of the world to kind of help guide you a little bit. Like, no, I've tried this before, or I've seen this before. It's not for me, and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's one way that I'm trying to help these kids.
Yeah, right. No, that's yep, I can understand that for sure. So no, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So a question, before we wrap everything up, one question I ask everybody: you can go back and talk to your younger self. It doesn't matter the age. If there's one thing that you can say to yourself that would really make a difference in either changing your mindset or keeping your, keeping you on the same path or doing anything differently, what would that be? Anything that you would tell your younger self?
Just that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If that's what you want to do or what you want to explore, then go ahead and go for it. And also, if it's something you have to work for or have discipline to get, don't be afraid of those things either. Just don't be afraid of hard work. Don't be afraid to say no and have discipline to get, whatever it is that you want,
Nice.
That's probably the things I'd say.
Yeah, I like that because I think we do go through that aspect, especially coming out of high school. You know, I liked music for a long time, and coming out of high school, going into college, I would always let, like my father, he didn't think music was the way to go for me. He was like, no, you need to do this. And I always struggled with, man, maybe he's right. No, but I don't know. I should do this. And I struggled with that for a very long time. And I think if I had that type of, mindset at that time, I would have continued on a little bit more aggressively than I did, because I was always back and forth with what it was. And yeah, I mean, I've done a few things that I'm proud of in the music industry. And I was able to get my business degree as well. So it's kind of a balance between the both things, but trying to understand that at a younger age, that's tough. That's tough.
It's not. Yeah. Persistence and consistency. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yes, ma'am. So, I appreciate everything that you shared. Is there any final thoughts or words that you want to share with the audience for us?
Oh gosh, really have words of wisdom like that. Just
I think,
I don't know.
I think you definitely got a lot out there for sure already through the interview. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really what it's all about, is just really sharing a lot of those details and providing that insight to others that are walking the same path too. So I really appreciate you sharing all that information with us. Just like with the audience as well, if you guys did like what you heard today, definitely leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel as always. You can catch all of the episodes on YouTube and your favorite streaming services like Spotify and all the other ones as well. But until then, this is your boy Billy Wayne, and signing out for today with FMJ. You guys have a wonderful day. Peace.